Welcome to The Pursuit of Excellence, the show where we go beyond the surface to explore what drives greatness. We will be sitting down with individuals who are pushing boundaries, breaking barriers, and shaping the future one decision, one action at a time. Today's guest is Brandon Dewan, the co-founder and CEO of Eagle Group, the Houston-based venture capital firm with a diverse portfolio of businesses generating over $4 billion in total revenue. Brandon has been recognized as EY National Entrepreneur of the Year, a 40 Under 40 honoree, and has led companies ranked among the incorporated 5,000 fastest growing companies and best places to work. Beyond business, he's a passionate philanthropist serving on the board of Houston Children's Charity and a dedicated husband and father of 3 young, phenomenal athletes. Brandon's mission is to lead by example and help raise the next generation of entrepreneurs. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, my pleasure. Glad to be here with you.
You know, it's been such a privilege to have you as a soundboard for me. So I'm excited to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, this is awesome. Yeah, it's very cool.
Would love to know what your definition of excellence is in leadership and in business.
Yeah, for sure. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. This is I'm really proud of what you've achieved here and look forward to see it growing and growing. Well, how I think about excellence is that, it's interesting because there's so many ways to answer this. And it's not, I think a lot of entrepreneurs would agree with me that it's not one thing when you think about excellence because it is so many different things. But I think that a very simple definition to me is achieving a purpose that you set out. Because people set a vision and they have an idea of what they want to accomplish. But then when you take that from the day one, you're building from zero. And you've taken it through all of the steps necessary, which are very complex, very challenging. You're going through different market cycles. You got products, technologies, people, everything's in the mix. Yeah. And when you get that to a point where you walk into the office one day and you're like, man, this was once an idea and now it's all happening. Yeah. That to me is a simple definition of excellence because it's something that is very hard to achieve. And there's a lot of entrepreneurs and business leaders out there that are constantly having those challenges every single day, every month, every year. But as they grow the business, as they grow the opportunity, and then it impacts other people's lives in a positive manner, to me, that's a form of excellence.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. My family loves to say, you leave everything better than how you found it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
You know, you've had such a dynamic career to date and a journey. I would love to know what drives you because, you know, coming from where you started and what you've built now, what pivotal moments that you've experienced that really were a catalyst for you?
Yeah, I'd say that the number one thing that drives me is to find out what's possible.
I love that.
Yeah, you got to find out what's possible.
What do you mean by that?
Well, what I mean is everyone is more capable and stronger and can create more than they think. I firmly believe that.
Yeah.
So until you really push yourself and you're really living on the edge and you're really going for everything, and you have a relentless pursuit of what you're trying to accomplish, then you'll never know. Yeah. So that's how I think about things. Is I think about what is possible, and that's what drives me. Okay. And then when I kind of take a step back and say, well, what is possible? Then I start to have these ideas and these visions about different forms of business and different industries of different ways of going about the entrepreneurial journey. Yeah. And then I try to build them, try to accomplish them.
It's incredible. You know, I think when I had my last really pivotal moment to transition into finance, one of the things that I focused on was figuring out like what is it that I'm actually capable of. Like, literally, I would make a list every single week of 3 things. What do I want to try? What do I want to accomplish? What do I want to achieve? And I would do one of those every single week. But doing things that scare me. I love that when I met you, your business was at like a $1 billion valuation, and now it's quadrupled. I would love to know what the strategy is when you're looking at the talent that you're recruiting.
Yeah, that's a great question because this is one of the components that I think goes overlooked a lot, especially at the beginning when they have this idea that they want to start a business. And the most complex part, the hardest thing, people will ask me sometimes, what's the hardest thing about being an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
The absolute hardest. And to me, it's not navigating these market cycles or going through a challenging time. It's all that. It is surrounding yourself with the right people. Yeah. It is absolutely the biggest challenge. And if you do not have the right people, then your chances of success are significantly diminished.
Yeah.
So I think people are the most important part of an organization. They're the most important part of creating the path of success that you want to go down and how you envision yourself optimally getting there. Most people don't achieve, most entrepreneurs you're not going to see say, oh, this is a very successful entrepreneur. He did it all himself or she did it all herself. Yeah. Nobody else was involved. Like, that's not usually the case, right? Yeah. So then you got to be smart about who you align with. And the other part of that is, if you're going to be a true leader, a true entrepreneur, you have to be able to share and explain your vision to the team and the people, and also have them buy in to what you're trying to accomplish and what you as a group collectively believe is possible.
Yeah.
Because if you have this vision and you can't get other people to believe that it's possible, they might work there and take a salary, but nobody's going to be rowing the boat 100 miles an hour in the same direction as much as possible, trying to attain the goals that you lay out. But if you get them to believe, and y'all all believe it's possible, you'll accomplish anything you put your mind to.
Yeah, it's people believe in what they co-create.
Absolutely.
You know, one of the things that I always hear with clients and different business groups that I'm in is just finding the right talent. So what is it that you are looking for when you're driving for that?
Personally, I'm very big on interviews, and I don't really care what a resume says to some degree. Yeah. Now, I mean, it has to be a starting point, so it has to check some boxes, obviously. Unless, and I've had this happen, it's a personal recommendation.
Yeah.
Where somebody says, look, the resume is not what you might want to see, but you got to give this person a chance. And interviewed them, liked them. You can typically tell the drive people have just by interviewing and asking certain questions and understanding their past and how they think about working and achieving things and goals and different things. So you can get a pretty good idea. But I've noticed that when it comes down to it, people who have the drive, they have the work ethic, they have the grit, are going to outperform the smart guy, the smart girl, 99.9% of times. I love it. So that's the key component of what I look for and what we look for as organizations is people that have the same mentality that we do and the same drive that we do. There's a lot of mentality that goes behind it. And so it starts, number one, with being mentally strong. You are going, no matter what you're in, business, a sport, an organization, or whatever, you're going to encounter problems. Yep. And if you just fold at the pressure, you got no shot. Yeah. And you have to have a team who's strong as well. And if things get tough, you got to work through the problems and find a solution. And you have to have people who are willing to put in the amount of work necessary to get there as quickly as possible. Yeah. You can't have the person who wants to show up at 9, they want to leave at 4, they're going to take 2 hours for lunch. They're not really going to work that hard. They're just kind of looking for the next thing that's going to be even easier. And those people they're never going to help build an organization. Yep. And they're never going to help it achieve what it wants to achieve. But so the whole thing for us really starts with the mentality of a person. We try to establish and understand that quickly and determine if it's appropriate to take them to the next step for the interviewing process and ultimately make a selection. But for us, and for me, we would not entertain somebody who doesn't have an extreme drive and an extreme mental strength.
You know, the thing that I've seen you do when we're, in meetings is you do two very, very specific things. One, you're doing opportunity identification and problem definition constantly. And so for me, I get excited when minds work like that because we're always relentless solution focused, right? How do we evaluate how we make this better? Is this an opportunity that I can scale? Is this something that we need to pivot and support in a different capacity? What is the standard deviation from expected? And how do we, with a new existence, right? It's a new standard. What are we solving for now? I think the thing that stood out to me the most when we first met was what you did in order to actually maximize the value of the Eagle Group. And you took a very unique approach at a time when it really wasn't the norm. So I would actually love for you to share, what your mindset was around taking it from baseline to where it was, 4 years ago, and then how you've scaled it since.
Yeah.
Because it's
So I mean, it started really with when I originally started the first company, I had that mindset and I believed it that there was nobody that was going to stop me.
Yeah.
There was nobody. There's no way, and I was going to outwork everybody, all of my competition. I mean, to me there was no question about it. I was just going to do that, and so I worked the 16 hours a day for 7 years, kind of thing. I mean, 7 days a week sometimes, and slept at the office sometimes, and just went all out. Yeah. But what really happened was when it started to transition is got to a point where we built the company into a very lucrative company that we sold a large portion of.
Okay.
And so then we were looking around like, well, what do we do now kind of thing, and also realizing other opportunities. Yeah. And so we started to diversify, and we created a couple other distribution-related companies in various industries, all of which we knew nothing about, quite frankly. Okay, we knew a lot.
How did you get up to speed?
Yeah, we knew a lot about the steel business, which is where we started.
Yeah.
And so we built that, but then what we figured out is we have a model from a distribution standpoint that we think we can copy and paste. Okay. Also being smart enough though to realize like we don't know these industries, but we know enough that we think we can be dangerous if we just go for it.
Love it.
And so we started that. We started to really understand the different industries. We applied our metrics from a distribution standpoint, and that allowed us to grow in those industries pretty quickly. And then we got the bug where it was like, well, what else is possible? Yeah. What do we do? How can we turn this thing into a supercharger, basically? And so then we started to organically become this venture capital company that we never set out to be. But we looked for opportunities for products, technologies, and then we started to invest in them. But we were strategic, though, from the way that we did it, because we didn't always necessarily just throw cash at it. We could also look at it and say, look, we can add value to other companies. So we could go to them and say, look, you bring A and B to the equation. You don't have C and D. We bring C and D. So we're stronger together than we are apart, kind of thing. So as we added value to different companies, we then found ourselves in a very unique position where we were creating value for ourselves with various companies. Yeah. Now, over time, that translated into, okay, let's get even more aggressive and put dollars into these different ventures. And now we're invested in, we have a whole portfolio of different businesses and investments. But it was really just through taking a very, very aggressive approach and trying to identify opportunities, especially in markets. That's what one thing I think is important for everyone to understand is their markets are always going through cycles, and there's always new opportunities. And if you are the first to the market, or you are the best to the in the market, can become the best in the market, you write yourself a golden ticket. So we typically are looking for opportunities that are unique. There has to be a unique variable and an advantageous market positioning for us to get involved, at this point. And so we try to identify what is different, or how can we make this different than what everybody else is doing. And if you can do that, you got a real shot. If you're just going to sell pencils, out there and be another pencil salesman, that's going to be very, very difficult. And there's nothing unique about that.
It's my dad always says the Ginzu knife commercial. What kind do you want? The competitive differentiation and the quantifiable return on investment when you're, going to market to capture market share. I think when I've seen you evaluate opportunities, even just on the superficial level, you are looking for something that is going to create a significant multiple.
That's right.
And it's also a value add, not just necessarily as far as like capturing market share, but also you have such a philanthropic mindset. You care about your people. You care about their growth. So I've seen it in both capacities. Granted, like we're going to go dominate is the mindset, and you should, absolutely. Yeah. I think one of the things that I remember as far as baseline is that you actually took over like the entire system sale, so to speak, right? You took over the market in order to be able to dominate. Was that correct?
Yeah, in a way. So we essentially, and you talking about the steel or the, So the first one, so what we did there is we didn't have any money.
Yeah.
And,
That's a hard place to start.
We didn't have much money. So, but we became very important in the prior years to a couple wholesalers and manufacturers, to where we were, I was selling hundreds of millions of dollars for these people. And so when it was time to, the quick version for that one is like, I was working for another company. Yep. And I was selling steel. They were doing $1 billion. I was selling about 300 million of it. And the company, I was making like $100,000 or something. And so I went to them and I was like, look, I'd like to talk about the compensation. And ultimately, the long story short, they're like, "No, we're not going to talk about that." And so if you don't like it,
Bye.
It is. Like, okay. And so I decided that I was going to start my own company, and then just started from scratch and built it from there. And then that led into the other businesses and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would say that from a like entrepreneurial standpoint, there are so many opportunities always in the market. And I think a lot of time people have a hard time identifying them, which is totally reasonable. But sometimes I think if people will take a step back and consider points that they haven't considered before, or think outside the box a little bit differently than they're used to thinking, or being so focused on being just a real estate person, or just a sell one particular product or whatever, and say, well, hold on, I can. More is possible, right? So let me kind of step back and say, let me change my thinking and let me really think through how I can add value to a market, how I can create a business, what I can do that's different, and all that. And then the juices start flowing and people start coming up with these crazy ideas.
I love it.
These awesome companies.
One of the things that I love that you do as well is also teach your kids how to run businesses.
Yeah.
You prioritize your time in service of others as well, with your kiddos and with your family, but also in the philanthropic space. Talk to me about your mindset on raising kiddos to be leaders. Yeah,
so one of my primary goals in the whole scheme of life at this point is to help create the next generation of entrepreneurs. Cool. And I think that it's most effective and most impactful to start them at a young age, because people don't give kids enough credit. They can understand more than they're given credit for sometimes. Mm-hmm. And so I personally believe around 5-ish is when kids can start to absorb things and understand. And if you take them to the office and talk them through simple things, but things you can start to implant a foundation of entrepreneurship in them and really just understanding business. But as they get just a little older, you can start to take even more steps, and you can set up a water bottle company, right? Or whatever you insert here type of company with your kids. Have a group of them and their friends that you can hold quarterly board meetings with, and you have them make decisions on profit, revenue, sourcing, and they really start to understand in a hands-on approach. Because it's one thing to go to school and read a book, but we both know that's not the most effective way to learn. So if you can lead them and you can help train them of ways to think like an entrepreneur and how to think differently and just how to advance their mind, it happens really fast. Yeah. And they really enjoy it. Yeah. And then they start to, they want to do more and they want to do more. So I think that's really cool. But I definitely am a proponent of start them early, and they know more than you think. You can teach them more than you think. And just show them, just like you're trying to show another entrepreneur who is older than them or whatever, but just show them, like, man, if you think about things a certain way, if you have to have this kind of mentality, if you have this challenge, okay, so we'll present a challenge and then we'll work through that and all this stuff. But as you do that, they get quicker and they get quicker and they get quicker. Yeah. The next thing you know, you're looking around, the kid's 9 years old, and you're like, dude, this kid's going, he's got it going on.
I love it. Have they started their own companies yet?
No, not yet. But within the next year, they better. No, I'm just kidding.
I love that.
They, but I mean, I'm really, really proud of my kids and really proud of their friends. I mean, they're all sharp kids who are learning and getting better. And I think some of them are going to go down the entrepreneurial road. So personally, I think that schools should eliminate some of the ridiculous things that they have, and every single kid should go through an entrepreneur class. Agreed. Every single one of them.
They should absolutely know what a P&L is and a balance sheet.
At the minimum, for sure. But there's so much more to it as well. Like, even if they don't become an entrepreneur, to have an entrepreneurial mindset will help you achieve in life in general. In my opinion, I strongly believe that.
So what are your criteria for the entrepreneurial mindset?
Well, entrepreneurial mindset, in my opinion, is the ability to create a product or solution, business in general, that is going to add value and have the opportunity to create financial success and also lead to the ability to choose your time. Because I think ultimately that's the goal of a lot of entrepreneurs. Obviously, the goal is making money. Yeah. That's typically where it starts. But then as people become more successful, what you find is, man, this money's great, but it's really about the time and being able to choose the time and how you want to use it, when you want to use it, and not being a slave to doing, you have to do this now, have to do that next, have to do that. So that's really what becoming a successful entrepreneur, in my opinion, is about, being able to use your time how you want.
Yeah. I also think that it's also being able to take a hit and get back up and do it better.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's an excellent point, because it is so true that people see the very top of the iceberg, right? It's the success, the news articles, the awards, blah, blah, blah. Everything below it is what created that up there. And there is a significant amount of pressure and failures. And not every business that I've invested in has done great. I've lost money, right? I mean, I've won some, lost some, and all that. I mean, nothing goes 100% perfect. Yeah. And anybody who says that is probably lying. But but I mean, ultimately, I lost my train of thought. I don't remember what I was saying.
Taking the hit, the iceberg.
Oh yeah. So that is what really helps create and helps you become who you will become. Yeah. And that's one thing, like, quite frankly, I probably, like a lot of entrepreneurs, when I started my first business, I was like, I want to make money. I want to be successful. Like, it was all about me. Yeah. And then as I started to create some success and I got a team and all, it was very quickly, it was like, wow, I was growing as a person. Yeah. I could tell that, I could feel that. And I was so much more concerned with the employees, their families, like making decisions that were going to impact them versus just, I want to be successful, I want to make money, and so I think that's pretty common for people, but it becomes much more than you. Yeah. It's much more about so many other things, and you develop as a person. And somebody who's an entrepreneur at $100,000 company, then $1 million, then 500 million, like this is a very difficult transition. Yeah. And a lot of times people can't do it. So there's a significant amount, and you don't have to be doing billions of dollars to evolve, right? Like you could be doing 100,000 to 500,000 to $1 million, whatever the case is. But every time you take a step up, that means you have to evolve as well. Yeah. Because if not, you're just going to stay where you are. You're going to go backwards. So personal evolution during the process and in the process is an absolute key to continuing to achieve success, in my opinion. And you got to be able to realize, okay, I've hit a wall. Yeah. I mean, I got to either improve myself, or how do I continue to lead to the next level? Yeah. So it's constant battle too, where you're, and not everybody sees that as well. Like you put on this strong front and all that, but at the same time, there's a lot of quiet eyes. You're like, man, I don't know what to do next. I mean, I got to figure this out. Yeah. And I got to get the vision. I got to get the plan. I got to be able to motivate, and I got to get this figured out. And so, and you work through it, and ultimately, a lot of times you do, but it's definitely a challenge to lead.
Yeah. How do you balance the family life and the pressure? So obviously going from the you focus to the employee focus and the community focus is a significant evolution. How do you make sure to make them a priority too?
Yeah. It's unique for everybody. I'll tell you from my perspective, what my goal is I wanted to work extremely hard when my kids were young, like newborns, to where as they started to get into sports, I would have more time with them. Because if they would have been into sports when I was starting my businesses, as much as I would want to be there, there's just no way. Yeah. There's just no way. So I just was like, I'm just going to absolutely grind it, and to where I can create success. And as they get to the age where they're going to start sports, I'll be able to have some freedom with my time. Yeah. I'll have some financial freedom, some time freedom, and all this. And so that was just my goal. Yeah. But now I prioritize the kids and the sports and our activities and adventures and things. That's number one, and the family is number one. So, I still live a busy work life and continue to build businesses and all this and run businesses, but I prioritize the family and the kids first. Yeah. So I don't allow other things to take precedence over that. Now, obviously it's helpful to have, if you have a team and you have other people who can pick up some slack. If it's a one-person show, then it's a little bit different story, and you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. No, I mean, I preach the decentralized ownership always. I mean, that's how you build a multiple. Conversely, when you're doing that and you're able to actually allocate time to make sure that your kiddos are peak performing, they are evolving, they are, pursuing the things that, are important to you, your vision as a family and the legacy. Talk to me about the kids. Like, what sports do you have them in? Like, coaching. Like,
So, I mean, I have 3 kids: 10-year-old boy, 8-year-old girl, and 5-year-old boy. So the 10-year-old boy is strictly baseball now. He's competitive baseball, plays for Marucci out of Baseball USA.
Nice.
And then the girl does softball, basketball, soccer, power tumbling, a little bit of everything.
She's a phenom.
Yeah, she's really good at. I mean, all the kids are good athletes, quite frankly, but she got it going on for sure.
I love it.
And then the young guy, he's just getting into sports. So.
I love it. What are you coaching? I think you were coaching
baseball,
soccer at one point.
Baseball, softball, basketball.
Okay.
Yeah, I coached a little bit. I either coach or assistant coach on most of their teams, which is cool. Like, obviously, I really enjoy sports.
Yeah.
But also it's a great way that if you don't have that, you can't really. It's hard to build relationships with their friends. Yeah. Whereas if you're a coach or assistant coach, you're right there. And so over the years, you've built these strong relationships that you otherwise wouldn't have. So that's a cool, just kind of ancillary component to it. But
one of the passion projects that you have is Cape Horn Tequila, and
that's true.
Veterans and Navy is very important in my world because of where I grew up. I grew up in Coronado, and a lot of my friends are Navy SEALs and are in the Navy. I sailed, so Cape Horn Tequila is actually very cool. Really special product, but also the mission behind it. So I'd love for you to share about.
Yeah. So I don't know if you knew this, but Cape Horn Tequila, we just won gold at the San Francisco World Spirits Competition.
Stop it.
Yeah, which is huge for us. So yeah, that was really exciting.
Big deal.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that one essentially, we've been mentoring for like 10 years with ACP, which is American Corporate Partners out of New York.
Okay.
And they set up business leaders and entrepreneurs with veterans who want to start a business. We've mentored a bunch of different veterans over the years, and this one we really connected with was Taylor Greiger, who was a Navy rescue diver.
Nice.
And so he's like, look, guys, here's the deal. I'm really passionate about 2 things. 1, I want to reduce the veteran suicide rate, and 2, I really like tequila. So we're like, interesting. Okay.
We all like
Let's
tequila.
roll with that. So one thing led to another, and we created this whole business plan around starting a tequila, which anybody that knows that has tried to start a spirit,
it's wild.
Like, everyone and their mama has a tequila now,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, it's a very competitive space.
The bottle space, like, that's a wild one.
You're right. It is. It's super wild. So we thought it'd be a great idea to tackle that challenge.
Perfect.
Yeah. So
and kick ass at it. So clearly,
yeah. So it's a long story, but we've got this. We filmed a documentary called Hell or High Seas, and it was an adventure that was a couple veterans in a piece of crap sailboat that sailed from Florida all the way around the tip of Chile and Argentina called Cape Horn.
Okay.
It took them over 500 days. They were chased by pirates. They sailed through hurricanes, and it's all in the documentary. But they're like, look, if we make it back alive, we're starting this tequila. So like, perfect. Let's film this and see how it goes.
Perfect.
So then we started the tequila. We released it on the USS Intrepid aircraft carrier in New York City, along with the documentary, and then that was that. And then we just worked hard to get into specs and Total Wine and more, and a bunch of different stores around the country. And now it's won the gold award from San Francisco World Spirits this year, and it's growing. So it's cool. But to your point, like, the whole point of that tequila was that we utilize the proceeds to fund our 501c3 called Skeleton Crew Adventures, where we provide adventure therapy to veterans dealing with PTSD. We get them out sailing, take them on sailing adventures, get them amongst common peers and each other, along with professionally trained staff, medical staff, and all that. And and psychiatrists and everything to where we help them through the process.
Yeah.
And so we've been able to help thousands come from a mindset of basically wanting to kill yourself to a life that's thriving. So it's been really cool.
I mean, for me personally, I've had four close people commit suicide. And so like it's such a powerful, important cause, and to do it in a fun environment.
Yeah.
The gamification side of things, the adventure side of things, I feel like people get so stuck in the blinders that they forget that the world is your oyster. But
well
getting
said.
them, getting them the help that they need, but also just like making sure that they're supported.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's not enough support out there for it.
Yeah.
So
I love that. You also are on the board for Houston's Children's Charity, right?
yeah,
I
I
would
am
love
on the
for you
board of
to-
that.
to
Yeah, it's
share about that.
Yeah, so Houston Children's Charity is a phenomenal organization, and anybody who doesn't know, I encourage you to look it up because we're doing some really awesome things. We're providing wheelchair accessible vans to families in need, 100% free of cost, like $60,000 or so each. We just provided 66 of them on Monday of this week to families in need. Super awesome. Love seeing the smiles and the happiness and the families changing lives for the positive. We provide beds to families and kids who just don't have a bed, which is not something you always think about, but there's a lot of people that are sleeping on the ground or sleeping 5 people in a bed. So we provide beds to them. That's sheets and pillows and everything. We provide school supplies. We do toys at Christmas time. I mean, just a whole list of different services that we provide that I'm super passionate about and glad to be on the board there. That's
So
led
fun.
up by Tillman Fertitta, who owns Landry's Rockets and now is the ambassador to Italy, and then Laura
Wow.
Ward. Laura Ward's been an incredible catalyst for that organization. She's the CEO over there and awesome lady.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm going to take you back to the Cape Horn side of things.
Yeah.
For people that are going through a tough time, what do you recommend?
Yeah, so what I would recommend is probably the easiest way to get a hold of us is through the website, which is capehorntequila.com.
Okay.
There's skeletonCrewAdventures.org, or you can just go to Instagram, type in Cape Horn Tequila, Skeleton Crew Adventures, and if anybody reaches out, there'll be contact back. Super easy, totally confidential. It's not gonna be blasted anywhere. We would love to help anybody who's in need, anybody who is struggling, and even if you're just kind of sitting in your room by yourself and you don't want to make a big deal about it, just reach out. We'd love to help.
You've been a soundboard for me personally, and definitely helped work through mindset shifts for me. So for people that are, hitting that plateau in a professional environment, or, can't figure out how to communicate in their personal life, or, struggling just to break through a barrier, what do you game plan around? Like, how do you recommend that they troubleshoot as like a baseline?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there's a lot of struggle with that, and it's a very challenging thing. I think it's definitely something that presents multiple different issues from time. It's hard to work through, but what I would say is that realizing that wherever you're at today doesn't mean that you have to stay there.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that that's your limit. It doesn't mean that's all that's possible, because there is more that's possible. If sometimes you just got to take a step back, take a breather, relax, and just think through, okay, I need to focus, determine where your focus points are. And I think a lot of times our brains and everything are like just a hamster wheel that's always going, and there's so, it's like walking down the aisle of the Whole Foods and there's like 50 million options, right? Like,
squirrels.
Where do I
Shiny objects.
Yeah.
It's like shoes.
Well, and especially these days with social media and all of the different technological advancements, like there's so much information flow.
Yeah.
And so anyway,
I just threw you on the spot on that one.
No, look, ultimately I think if you're really struggling with it, you need to block off an entire day.
Yeah.
And you need to quit doing whatever important things that you have going on.
Yeah.
And you need to think through this, and you need to come up with a game plan. You need to write it down. You need to come up with specific goals that you have, and you need to just just work it out for yourself. The saying in our company that I established a long time ago, which I believe is true, is details are life.
Ooh.
Details are life. Because a lot of people too, that goes into entrepreneurship as well, because I'll be like, hey, I'm going to create this company, blah, blah. Okay, great. Well, how are you going to do that?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Well, that's a problem. So
I preach execution strategy all day long, because it's how are you going to do it?
I promise you, this is very important. Clarity breeds success. Clarity will ultimately determine how successful you can become.
Love that.
So what I mean by that is that if you just have ideas and you have no game plan or map as to how to achieve them, you're not going to achieve them.
Yeah.
I hate to break it to you. You're not. So if you have ideas and you have a desire to accomplish something, you got to break it down into actionable, action targets. Basically saying like, okay, this is what I want to achieve. Here's the steps that I can achieve that. And this is the other important thing that I think is missed a lot, is that you have to problem shoot on the front side. Yeah. Now, it's impossible to take it. Like, is there going to be new tariffs in the market that are politically announced so you have no clue? Or just some random, is there COVID going to happen? I mean, these are not things somebody can plan. Yeah. But you can look at it and say, look, I'm going to start a production business, and here are the most likely things, the challenges that I'm going to approach, and how am I going to try to deal with them? Yeah. Now, you also have to be able to operate on the fly, because what you think may happen may never happen, and it may happen, but things that you don't anticipate are definitely going to happen. Yeah. So you got to be able to react quickly. You got to be able to think fast, and you got to be able to react quick. But yeah, I mean. Yeah,
no, I love it. In my brain, it's about being nimble. It's about being able to adjust and then pivot and play. So
yeah, so important.
Yeah. One of the other just fundamental things that I find that's super helpful is getting physical. I know that's super important. It's
very
a routine.
Important.
So talk to me about best practice habits that you utilize to maintain mindset, peak performance, excellence in that capacity.
Yeah. So I would say that's probably number one, most important. If you want to be successful, you got to be in tune with your health. You got to be healthy. You got to be working out. You got to be eating right. You got to not be drinking too much. I know some people are going to hate to hear that. I mean, drink some Cape Horn tequila, obviously.
Tequila, yeah.
No, but seriously, I mean, this is actually, so something that sometimes I'll do when I hit that, just like the question you just asked, is when you hit that wall and you're like, what do I do now?
Yep.
A lot of times I'll just leave the office and I'll go to the gym. I know that sounds ridiculous, but at the same time, that's what helps you figure it out, because if you get your mind going, you get your body going, you get your blood pumping, all that, you're going to think different. You think more clear. You think in more expanded ways. And so that's one of the things that if I run into a real issue and I'm trying to work it out in my office and I can't figure it out, I'm just like, bye. And I go to the gym and I work out. And a lot of times that brings the clarity that I needed. I know that sounds weird probably, but it's so true.
No, literally.
Or even, or I know people too, maybe it's not going to the gym, but you go outside for a walk for 10 minutes. Just leave your office, go walk around your office parking lot or something, whatever, for 5-10 minutes, and it'll change the rest of the course of your day.
I love it. Yeah, I fundamentally am a 75 hard advocate at this point. I don't do doubles anymore, but every single day it is mission critical to get great.
And so how do you feel?
Break a sweat. Yeah. I mean, I was raised doing doubles as a baseline. So I was raised doing swim practice in the morning and soccer, sailing in the afternoon. So that was just a standard way of life. So it was nice to get back in the habit of that this year, because it really it's streamlined and it allowed me to focus. It grounded me in what's important, and all the rest of the fluff fell away. Granted, I'm doing a lot. So really just continuing to dial in and streamline so that I'm not superfluous in where I'm expending energy.
Yeah.
And so that it's really impactful when I do have interactions with clients and, friends, family. I'm able to be present. And so it's been really nice to dial in. And as far as actually gaining clarity, I did this Navy SEAL shootout, and so it's just all I can think about now in my brain is when I hold the rifle or the pistol is front sights, front sights, front sights. See the target, shoot the target.
That's good. That's a good mindset, though.
So it's we're in that phase of life of just like, all right, we see the target now, let's shoot it.
It's good.
Yeah. So is there, in closing, what does winning look like for you moving forward?
Yeah. That's a good question. I would say that winning to me is to be able to continue leading by example in both business as well as personal life. Because winning to me is that I have set my mind and have these visions of what I want to achieve in business. And some of them I've achieved, some of them I have not achieved.
Yeah.
Some of them I failed at. That I'm working to achieve. Some of them were huge successes, right? It's just like most serial entrepreneurs, you have some wins, some losses, some challenges, some great things, and
more losses than wins in some cases.
So
it galvanizes you.
Sometimes you do. So winning to me ultimately looks like continuing to play out the vision of what I want to achieve as an entrepreneur, but also to really be that leader that I want to be for my kids and my family.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons that I work as hard as I do at this point too, is that I don't want my kids to see somebody who's just chilling at home, or just like chilling on the beach.
Yeah.
So I think it's much more impactful, much more important, and much more developmental to have a dad who is trying to push the envelope, who is, they see working hard, who they see hitting successes, who they see working through challenges. And who's also there to help them become a man or become a woman and be with them in their sports and help them develop into people.
I love that. Is there anything that you want to tell the audience about before we wrap up?
I would say that, number one, I think this is a really cool podcast that you're doing. I think it's going to bring so much benefit and so much positive influence to entrepreneurs and just people in general. So number one, congrats. I think it's awesome. I think it's only going to grow. But no, I mean, look, one of the things that I would like to comment on is that one really cool investment that I currently have is called Colel Health. And it's in Cabo, Mexico. It is a stem cell and cellular health wellness business that we're opening in August of this year in the Palmilla neighborhood of Cabo, Mexico. And it's going to be stem cells and total cellular health wellness and really change for people to perform their best, look their best, and feel their best. Yeah. And so it's kind of a game-changing type of medical facility that we're creating, totally first class as well. Best medical team. It's going to be really cool, but it's called Colel, Colel Health, Cabo, Mexico.
The longevity side of that is remarkable.
Yeah.
And the medical treatment side of stem cell research is insane. So very cool. Can't wait to hear about it. Yeah. Where can people find you if they want to connect? I'm
on Instagram. I'm on which is Brandon Dewan. I'm on LinkedIn, although I don't check LinkedIn
You're like,
all that much.
Talk to my secretary.
But yeah, I mean, I'm on probably Instagram and just can look up our website, eaglegroupco.com.
Love it.
If they want to try to get a hold of me.
Thank you for
Or they can reach out to you and you can connect me.
Yeah. If you're like gonna throw me a pitch deck, yes. Thank you so much for joining us. It was an absolute pleasure. Excited.
No, thanks for having me. It's all my pleasure.
Watch you launch more companies and change the world. So
we'll give it our best shot.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us on The Pursuit of Excellence. Remember, excellence isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up, growing, and choosing to push forward even when it's hard. See you next time.